Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk about something that every single lifter is going to experience at some point in their training career. And that is going to be, how do I program around pain? If I get a tweak in my lower back, I'm starting to get some elbow pain, we've all had this happen to us. Now, I think it's important for me to first preface this video by saying that I am technically not a physical therapist, I am not a doctor. So this is not medical advice. This is just what I've learned from school by taking some athletic training courses, and in practical experience learning from training people in real life and whatnot. I have a degree in exercise science, so I do know a few things and have practical experience with this, but again, I'm not a doctor, so this isn't medical advice. But now I've gotten that out of the way, I want to first say that this is not something that I don't agree with. Like, you'll get one of two things that typically happen when you talk to a coach, a bad coach, in my opinion, is they'll just tell you, oh, just lay off for a couple weeks, because that doesn't actually address the problem. Now, if it is an overuse injury and like you have been doing just too much volume, then lowering volume is a good idea. But motion is lotion, and some form of activity is going to actually help facilitate healing through angiogenesis, which is going to be increased blood flow to the muscles, increased which will enhance nutrient delivery. Some of the cytokines, which are going to be basically just little cells, parts of your body that are going to help facilitate healing and then like response to an injury. So the only time that you should just completely take off is if you legitimately cannot move that area without any pain. In that case, that is the one time that I would recommend that. I have a few notes written down right here, and I'm just because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything, and this video is kind of clear and easy to understand. I think that going off of that, rest is a very important tool that can be used, but is often overprescribed, because you do need to have some sort of a dose that will help facilitate recovery. So let's say that you were experiencing some elbow pain in your bench press, for example. You've been doing a lot of bench press volume. One of the things that you can do is change up your form or your grip placement that allows for the same or nearly the same load, but use different angles for a while, just so that it feels it feels strong again. So that could literally mean on bench press, let's say you're doing a wide grip bench press and that was just really hurting your shoulders or your elbow or something. A really easy change would be to move your grip in, so then you have different lines of pull, different forces on the muscles being used. That could be something that you could do, and then over time you can reintroduce that painful position and make it stronger again. Again, we're not moving, we're just training around it, and we're stimulating the muscle fibers and in a novel way that is different from what they have been used in the past. Another way that you can program around pain is keeping the same movements. So you do keep that same grip, same form and whatnot, but you can volume match at a lower intensity. So basically what that means is you can drop the weight by 20% and increase the number of reps per set by 20%. So real life application of this, let's say a 3x5 was really hurting you. Well, you could do, that's 15 total reps. You could do a sets of 10, a higher rep range, which would be a lower intensity. Basically lower that because there'll be less force on the actual tissues being worked. Another strategy is to implement blood flow restriction training. This is actually used in patients with sarcopenia, which is basically muscle wasting. Basically, you can use super low intensities, even 30% of your one rep max, And but basically is you would basically tie off with the proximal end of a limb. So like on the bicep, if let's say you're doing like a blood flow restriction training on the bicep, you would get like a some sort of band or cuff or whatever to basically cut off the blood flow. So then what that does is that builds metabolites in the muscle. It creates more of a burn, and you stimulate some growth factors in there to actually still get a stimulus. But this is helpful in injury management, especially with like limbs and whatnot, just because like you're not going to have, again, as much mechanical overload, but you're still going to have a stimulus for muscle growth, so be able to make progress and still facilitate recovery, which is what you want to do. And now with like, if you have like a lower back tweak, it's probably not something that you're going to be able to do. But another thing that you could do is simply just take a week off from whatever movements that was hurting you, and then slowly load. So basically you do like a volume deload on that muscle group, wherever exercise was really hurting you, causing you pain, and you would start off with very low in volumes, lower intensities to increase tissue tolerance, because lots of times if you are hurt, if you are in pain, that muscle is weaker and you need to strengthen it again. So you need to kind of start from a lower spot for progressive overload, and then increase up. And so what that could basically look like is whatever weight you're currently using, you can keep the same sets and reps, but use like 50% of the load, and then next week you do 55%, following week 60, and then 65, etc., etc. You kind of get the point. And what that does is that increases tissue tolerance by slowly increasing your workload so that your body can adapt from a lower starting spot. And then potentially altering technique a little bit to take off the load, so that's exercise rotation that will be slightly different. So for example, one of my favorite things to do if I have an athlete who is having some lower back pain, so they can't really do heavy squats, they can't really do heavy barbell work that basically compresses their spine, hip hinges, whatever. I will like to use like unilateral work that is less loading on the muscle. So for example, let's say I had somebody who was in pain doing a barbell straight leg deadlift, which is going to be a higher raw stimulus magnitude tension on the muscle group, swapping it out for a movement like a single leg dumbbell RDL, which is less mechanically overloading, have them work in a higher rep range on that, and use that to still strengthen the muscle, allow for healing. You can still make progress and program around the injury, but still see results. Let's say you're doing a back squat and you found that spinal compression with barbell on your back was really painful. Well, you could do a front squat. You could do single leg unilateral work with dumbbells. It does not compress the spine if it hurts that bad. But look for variations that are going to be less systemically fatiguing to your overall body, so that you can actually still recover, still have a stimulus, let that target injury heal. And then what you can do over time, as you're kind of strengthening the muscle group, things are feeling better, you're feeling stronger, you're feeling more confident with the barbell, with that movement pattern possibly being reintroduced. Then you want to go back to that exercise, but start from a lower starting point and then gradually go up. So again, whenever I'm reintroducing whatever movement was kind of hurting, I like to use what I said with the volume progression method. So starting out with like 50% of whatever weight they were using before they got hurt, and then slowly going up with that, so then they can still recover, they can still learn out the techniques, still see improvements, and then we can kind of gauge progress as needed. Slowly increase their acute to chronic workload capacity ratio, stuff like that. I also think that it's important to view this from like a biopsychosocial model of pain. Realize that not all pain is bad. Your brain, when it senses pain, is basically going to send a signal to your body to kind of get tight, to muscle guard, to keep you safer from this threat, because your body just knows, okay, we're having a stressor, in this case the barbell in your back, literally tearing up your muscles, to, I guess, guard that area. You don't want to get hurt beyond that. So understand that you know, if you do feel a tweak, if you do feel that, that's normal. That comes with this territory. How you respond to it is equally as important. So instead of getting super like freaked out or whatnot, think about, okay, I'm feeling this pain. What is this telling me? What should I do right now? How can I work around this? Outside of extreme circumstances, you can work around most tweaks. If it is a legitimate injury, if you have a legitimate disc herniation or whatnot, you need to go to a doctor. You need to go through all the physical therapy, follow them. But if it's something like I'm having a slight tweak, or I feel some radiating pain in my elbow, like I've had, like in my prep, my elbow right here, I had medial epicondylitis symptoms because I was just benching so much and it was just so heavy. I would have like radiating pain all the way down my arm. And I kind of just had to deal with it a little bit. And then like my deloads took care of that. That's another thing too. In order to reduce incidents of injury happening, taking deloads, using volume dose appropriately, not doing too much volume, staying within your maximum recoverable volumes, and then deloading after you see signs of fatigue and performance reduction, joints getting achy. Take care of that. That's going to be super important, and that's probably the biggest thing that you can do to prevent an overuse injury. I will say that barring all of these things that I told you about how you can work around this, if it's been like 8 weeks or more, and you're still having symptoms, it still is really hurting, that's when you should probably go to a doctor for sure, and definitely get the help that you need, because it's probably a little bit more serious than just a simple tweak or a strain or a sprain, whatever. So I hope that this was helpful, and that you guys kind of glean something from it. The big takeaway here is I want you to realize that, one, if you're lifting weights, expect to feel sore, expect to feel tired, expect to feel beat up at certain times. That's normal. It's a part of overload. It's part of getting better. You will have times when you tweak your lower back, when your elbows hurt, when your shoulders hurt a little bit. How you respond to that is mentally is equally as important as what you do physically. Realize that, take the pain for what it is, see what you can do to work around it, and be rational and logical in your approach. If the pain is something above like a 6 out of 10, it's just constantly there, even like no matter what you do, then I would definitely go to a doctor. If it's only stress with certain symptoms, then definitely, or certain movements or whatnot, then you can probably work around it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys are interested in coaching or programs or whatnot, links down in my bio, down below. Follow me on Instagram, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.